I have come to legitimately believe that of all the different methods that there are out there to determine someone's type, right? Beyond merely a self-typing process, what most people do is they determine their type by themselves. Sometimes people are eager to hear the opinion of an expert to either discover what their type is or get proper confirmation of what they think their type is. And of course, there are a lot of options, or at least several different kinds of options to do this. My approach is the most Jungian of all. When I'm saying this, of course, I'm not claiming that that this makes it better. Some people may look for an approach that is not Jungian, you know. Any of the more objective approaches, the ones that I have had my rant against not long ago, and I will not return to this, these are certainly, it's inevitable that insofar as you offer a model for determining someone's type, you are going to be influenced by Jung in some way or other because, well, personality types are a Jungian creation, okay? But in terms of the spirit of how they proceed, how they go about it, it's not Jungian for a simple reason, is that they, since they claim to want to be 100% objective, nothing about these approaches takes the unconscious into account. That's very un-Jungian. The way that Jung arrived, first of all, at the conclusion that there are indeed personality types, very closely connected to his explorations of the unconscious. His descriptions of personality types, the particular ones that he listed, introverted, intuitive, extroverted thinker, introverted feeler, extroverted feeler, and so on. I mean, read, in chapter 10 of personality types, read how they are described by Jung. The references to the unconscious are everywhere. So Jung had a method for determining type that was ultimately connected to his psychoanalytic and psychiatric practice. And it makes sense. That's how he worked. So, if you like, discovering more about the unconscious fantasies of the person that you're talking to is going to tell you what you need to know if you manage to get there, because some people have very closed off unconsciouses, in which case you might not be able to even determine what their type is, at least to not quite iron it out or be sure of it. But to the extent that you can open that book and see the network of interlocking narratives that form the core web of fantasy in a person's mind, the back of their mind, the unconscious part of the mind, this is going to be your clue, at the very least, to the dominant function. And if you get the dominant function, you're close to giving an answer as regards the type. To my knowledge, there is no approach other than my approach that attempts to do this, that comes to a conclusion regarding someone's type on the basis of the exploration, excavation, and analysis of their unconscious. Now, is this surprising? No. Part of why this is not surprising is that, first of all, it can never claim to be a scientific or objective approach, since the unconscious is never the unconscious is never brought into consciousness by definition. I mean, it makes its way into consciousness through various stratagems, but it's never something that's done directly, and the unconscious is constantly concealing itself from consciousness. It's an intersubjective approach rather than an objective approach. So if I had to describe my typology, I would call it certainly an intersubjective typology, not an objective typology. And it's very much based on an open discussion with the unconscious of the person. It's also not a surprise because it's not really sexy to be a psychoanalyst nowadays. There's lots of reasons why. People tend to think that they can't really make a living from being a psychoanalyst, at least if they're just that. Some people who believe in like the science of psychology look at psychoanalysis with suspicion. At least it's trendy to look at it with suspicion, sometimes to sort of utterly reject it. So you don't have a lot of people who type and who happen to have, or to either be a fully trained psychoanalyst, which I am not. But I'm not just someone who has had an interest in psychoanalysis for a long time. I'm in training. Okay, so I am in conversation with, I am clued in, and that makes a big difference, I think. And in this sense, you know, I called my first two books, which I may as well show you, the Ecstatic Soul, which is my first book on the INFJ, mostly on the INFJ mind. And if you want a deep understanding of this is still the go-to book to get. It's linked below in the description box. You should definitely get it if you haven't yet, and if you want a deep understanding. The Infinite Soul is about the INFJ and their peculiar mind, as described in the Ecstatic Soul, but in the world, INFJ life in the modern world, dealing with questions of value, purpose, meaning, and the place of INFJs in our contemporary world. You should get it too at the first link below. But these books I described as Jungian existentialism, right? Jungianism meeting with existential philosophy. My current work on the NI function, I mean, it's still, and it will hopefully come out next year as a book. I'm still aiming for that. And I think it's realistic, but we'll see. I'm not the master of all the events that should happen on the horizon, but it's still infused with existentialism, to be sure. But it's, in many ways, it's just Jungian. And it's interesting that my path seems to sort of bring me back closer to Jung rather than further from Jung, as seems to be the path of other typologists in the community. And I just wanted to point that out, because maybe that's something that's kind of passed over easily. But in a sense, the sort of a truly Jungian approach to determining type, of course, has to go through a reckoning with the unconscious. There's no way around it, and this is what I do. I had a pretty cool consultation with one of my patrons recently, where we were able to, I strongly believe, determine that he's an INFJ. This gives me hope that my services in the future will be able to be high quality, and this person seemed to be very happy with our consultation. So already you can let me know in the comments if this is something that you would consider for yourself. I'm not going to start the service straight away, but this is in the works. Okay, guys, just to finish, don't forget that you can support me on Patreon. Today I'm going to record a new deep dive video for the patrons. You know, these are long format, like really in-depth dives into particular topics. Today, I might actually, like one of the Patreon supporters suggested, talking about what would an NI dystopia look like. I'm really considering doing it about that. And usually these are 20 to 30 minutes kind of video format. So if you want to access the already large library of such videos, join my Patreon page. It's linked below. You also get access to our special Discord server. There's a lot of cool people there. Come interact with us, come join us. And also, don't forget, that massively helps me. It makes a huge difference. A few bucks a month, few bucks a year. You make a big difference to keeping the channel going. Thank you very much, and I'll talk to you tomorrow, guys. Bye-bye.